Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Shimmy Marcus 92. Thanks for the suggestion, Marcus. You asked, how is copper tubing made? Copper tubing is one of those things we take completely for granted. It's in our walls, under our floors, and hiding in places we never think about. Yet most of us have no clue how a chunk of raw metal gets transformed into a perfect, bendy, glowing tube. Well, get ready, because the process is equal parts industrial wizardry and copper's own natural charisma. Let's follow copper's journey from rock to shiny pipe, right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start at the beginning. Copper does not just grow in neat little tubes like metallic bamboo. It comes out of the earth in rocks. To the untrained eye, these rocks don't look like they contain much, just dusty gray or greenish lumps. But miners know better. Step 1. Blasting the rock out of the earth. Big machines and sometimes a bit of dynamite help break it free. Step 2. Crushing. Imagine a giant blender, but without the smoothie option. Just endless crunching until the ore is pebble-sized. Step 3. Concentration. This is where science steps in with flotation tanks. Bubbles are blown through a slurry of crushed rock and water, and like the pickiest kids at a buffet, only the copper particles stick to the bubbles. Everything else sinks. At this point, the copper concentrate still isn't pure enough. It's smelted, which basically means heated until molten. So the junk floats away and the copper stays behind. What you end up with is blister copper, named because the surface literally looks like it has blisters. Gross, but effective. Finally, to get it really pure, it's refined through electrolysis. Think of it as copper's spa day. Electricity runs through big tanks of acid, and copper atoms migrate like they're at a summer camp, choosing bunks. After this process, we've got copper that's 99.99% pure. Now that we've got pure copper, it needs to be shaped into something useful. Tubing doesn't just appear by accident. It starts with billets. A billet is essentially a giant sausage of copper, but instead of smelling like barbecue, it's a glowing orange cylinder of molten metal that could melt your eyebrows off. To make them, the purified copper is melted in massive furnaces, then poured into molds. Once cooled, you've got these solid copper logs that weigh more than your car. But here's the catch. No one wants a 700-pound copper sausage in their bathroom wall. So, these billets are just the raw material, the dough that will later be stretched, squished, and coaxed into tubing. Imagine Play-Doh, but with enough heat and pressure to flatten a tank. At this stage, things don't look much like pipes yet, but the magic is about to begin. Now comes extrusion, the most oddly satisfying part of the process. If you've ever squeezed toothpaste or shoved Play-Doh through a star-shaped mold, you already get the concept. Except here, the Play-Doh is glowing copper, and the mold doesn't make stars. It makes tubes. First, the billet is reheated to around 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, because copper needs to be soft enough to flow, but not so soft that it melts into a puddle on the floor. Then, under enormous hydraulic pressure, the billet is forced through a die. The die has a pin in the center that creates the hollow inside. So as the copper squeezes through, it transforms from chunky log into endless, shiny spaghetti tube. And yes, it comes out in one long, continuous piece. Imagine a giant, glowing noodle that could stretch across a warehouse. Workers then chop it into manageable lengths before it cools into something resembling what you'd actually recognize as tubing. It's oddly elegant, violent pressure combined with smooth, glowing results, like watching someone angrily knead bread but end up with a perfect baguette. Extrusion gives us copper tubing, but it's still a little rough, kind of like a teenager's first attempt at facial hair. To make it perfect, the tubes go through a process called drawing. Drawing means pulling the tubes through smaller and smaller dies to refine the diameter and wall thickness. Think of it like copper going to the gym, slimming down and toning up until it's the exact size needed. This can be repeated multiple times until the dimensions are spot on. After drawing, the tubes aren't exactly runway ready. They can be a bit bent and uneven. So, they're straightened using rollers. Picture a spa massage, but instead of relaxing muscles, the rollers force the copper to lie perfectly flat and straight. Finally, the tubes are cut to length, cleaned, and inspected. Any that don't pass inspection get recycled back into the process because copper is too valuable to waste. The survivors are shiny, flawless tubes, ready to be shipped off and eventually hidden in someone's wall where nobody will ever admire them. Tragic, really. And there you have it, copper tubing's epic journey. From unassuming rocks in the ground, to blistering furnaces, to being squeezed like molten toothpaste, to finally emerging as perfect, straight, gleaming tubes. It's a process that's equal parts brute force and precision engineering, with just a dash of molten chaos. Next time you see copper tubing, take a second to appreciate that it started life as a rock that got crushed, bubbled, melted, stretched, and rolled into submission. All so water could flow smoothly through your house without you ever thinking about it. If you learned something new about copper tubing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, even the most boring-looking pipe has a pretty wild origin story. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.